Hello, I'm Nathan Judo. I'm here with Wolves reporter Mr. Tim Spiers. Tim. We've just come out of Nuno's press conference. An absolute shock. We've got massive news.
Yeah.
Klaxon. Huge news.
Huge news.
Give it to the peeps.
I remember a couple of weeks ago, pre-Shrewsbury.
Yes.
And Nuno said Niall Ennis was going to be on the bench.
That's
and
as good as we're all, yeah.
my jaw hit the floor.
Huge news.
Because that's as revealing as Nuno gets. But
Beyond.
today, yeah, literally a bombshell. John Ruddy's in goal.
Oh, what?
Against Cardiff. So yeah, first league appearance of the season. Patricio drops to the bench. Big news.
It is a bit of a shocker, though, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, I didn't see it coming. You didn't see it coming. I don't think many people did.
I don't think anyone did really. However, he's explained it and explained it quite well. In that the FA Cup game, obviously coming up, is the biggest game of the season, biggest one-off game this club's had for years, really, in terms of a do or die one-off match, must win. It's as big as it gets. So he wants his goalkeeper, John Ruddy, who will play in that game, to be in the best possible condition. And we've seen a couple of times this season in the two Shrewsbury games, how Ruddy made a couple of errors, and I think you can attribute that to him being cold. Goalkeepers, more than any other position, I think, need to be in a rhythm in terms of kicking, claiming crosses, even to do with their eye line, really, you know, where they stood by their post or whatever. They need to be in that rhythm. So Nuno, as a former keeper himself, will know that better than anybody. As a former backup keeper himself at Porto, he'll know that better than anybody. So he wants Ruddy in the best kind of frame of mind for this massive game. And then there's another couple of factors going into it, where, if you remember the Cardiff away game, Patricio was at fault for one of their goals. There was a bit of an aerial bombardment, which I'd say Ruddy would deal with that better than Patricio. He didn't enjoy himself up at Cardiff, cost Wolves a goal. I think that's come into his thinking as well. Now we'll see what he does for the Chelsea game, but yeah, for tomorrow, it's Ruddy in goal.
So if you hadn't got the Manchester United game, and you know you're going to get physical aerial bombardment from Cardiff City, do you think he would have made this change?
That's a tough one to answer, really. I don't know. Well, it's interesting to see what he does at Chelsea next week.
Very much so. Let's see if there's a stormer and they win 1-0.
Well, no, but I mean more in terms of would he have brought him in for the Chelsea game for a bit of prep ahead of the Man United game? And then I think, yes, you look at this Cardiff game and think it's we know what you're going to get from Cardiff. If Gunnarsson plays, you're going to get long throws, but you're certainly going to get set pieces, corners thrown in. That's what they do, and also what they do well. You know, they've got a lot of tall, physical players who benefit from that in defence and attack. So that's probably part of his thinking, I would have thought. And also places, you know, people have questioned Nuno's priorities this season. FA Cup or League, you know, what's he going to do with his team selection? He's very much, as he said, with a bit of a cheeky grin, he always takes it game by game, but for once, you know, he's looking ahead here to the Man United game, which, as I've said, is as big as it gets.
Do you think because it's Molineux as well, and you think that back to like you said, that Shrewsbury game where he had that awful error, everyone felt for him, that he just needs to get, maybe it's just a home game, because you know obviously the Manchester United game is going to be at Molineux as well.
I'm not sure about that. You know, Ruddy's such a professional guy. He's played at Molineux so many times over the past 18 months or so. I'm not sure if it's to do with that, but like I say, it's more to do with rhythm, not coming in from the cold for what is a huge game, because it's an unusual thing, isn't it? Having a cup keeper that will only play once every few weeks.
But a lot of teams do that now.
A lot of teams do it, but Nuno, with his goalkeeping expertise, is trying to get round and avoid a mistake like we saw against Shrewsbury.
Okay, so let's
interesting for a penny for Rue, Patricio's thoughts today.
Well, Nuno said he took it pretty well, to be fair.
Yeah, as I'm, well, he's going to say that. I mean, if I was Rue Patricio, I wouldn't be too happy, particularly after having one of his best games for a while on Tuesday night, when I thought he claimed some decent crosses early on. His kicking was better. It was certainly safer. He was just putting it down the middle of the pitch, and he made a couple of good saves. I thought he was Wolves' best player on Tuesday night. He won't want to be dropped against Cardiff. He won't be happy about that. Of course he will. But as long as he takes it in a professional manner, then that's all you can ask.
Well, I was about to ask you: has Rui Patricio been dropped? Has he been dropped? Has he lost his place in this side?
No, because I would say we'll see what happens at Chelsea.
Let's say Ruddy plays well and plays against Chelsea. Has he been dropped for John Ruddy?
Well, no, because I think, as Nuno stated on record today, this selection, in his words, we've got to take his words at face value, is about preparing the team for the Man United game. And I think the game after Man United, which is Burnley away, I think we'll see Patricio back in goal for that, whatever happens.
Amazing though, with change of tact when he always goes for the next game is the most. We do not look past the next game. It's always the next game.
Yeah,
so it's very unusual.
It's unusual, but it's unusual to reveal any team news ahead of a game. Certainly for Nuno, but there's no tactical advantage for Cardiff knowing this. Their tactics aren't going to change tomorrow, knowing that Ruddy's in goal instead of Patricio. I would have thought.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's trying to avoid a lot of speculation and hysteria come 2 o'clock tomorrow, where if nobody knew what was happening and suddenly Patricio's on the bench, everyone will be saying he's dropped. What's happening there? So I think he's trying to avoid that as well. I'm sure it's not a decision he's come to lightly to reveal it in advance, but it's very interesting.
He's not afraid of making a big call, is he?
No, totally. Well, fair play, and big chance for Ruddy to impress. We know about his temperament and his character. He's been a key figure in this dressing room this season, even though he hasn't been playing. So let's hope for his sake that he does well tomorrow. Because that'd be the worst case scenario if Ruddy drops a clanger tomorrow.
Well, exactly.
And then you're thinking you've got a keeper not in form, and you've got the biggest game of the season coming up.
So he's loving John Ruddy this week. Tell you else he's loving Neil Warnock.
Yes.
Yes, it was a proper loving for the first 5 minutes. How much of that do you think's genuine?
None.
Zero. Absolutely zero.
Come on, it's mind games. The last time I saw Neil Warnock,
I love you, Nuno. I love you more.
Last time I saw Neil Warnock in the flesh, he was calling Nuno a disgrace. And said he's got to get used to the English game and he doesn't know what he's doing, and I won't accept his apology. He was absolutely furious. And then a year later, he's saying, "Oh, he's a lovely man," and my missus loves him. It was an interesting dynamic in the Warnock household.
Very much so. Awkward dynamic.
Yeah, not reciprocated. Nuno's revealed that he hasn't asked his missus if he likes Neil Warnock.
No.
So,
all a bit bizarre.
Very unusual press conference today, but entertaining.
I tell you what, there'll be some argy-bargy on the bench tomorrow, I guarantee you.
It'll be, it's a huge game for Cardiff. They've got thumped 5-1. They had 2 big home games. They got thumped by Watford 5-1 and Everton 3-0. Mm-hmm. So it's a big game for them. They've got a tough run in, and they desperately need to get something at Molineux tomorrow. And they're not ideal opponents for Wolves. A one-off game, a tough physical match. They'll try and stop Wolves playing. They'll do the ugly stuff well. We've seen it before, and Warnock will have them fired up for it. And he loves all the banter with the crowds. That we know exactly what they'll be singing at him tomorrow.
Well, he takes the pressure off his players.
Yeah,
and that's what he does. He's a very smart guy at doing that.
Yeah. So at least Nuno's well aware of this in advance. But it's not an ideal game tomorrow. It doesn't mean that Wolves can't win it. But they're not ideal opponents for me.
And they're going to have to play a damn sight better than they did on Tuesday night.
Yeah, and Nuno's addressed that in his press conference as well, and said, there's absolutely no chance that Wolves underestimated Huddersfield the other night. They just didn't perform, didn't turn up. So we know of one change to his team tomorrow. I'm interested to see if there's going to be more. Spoken at length and spoken very well. I'd urge anyone to read it on the Express and Star website. He's spoken very well about Traore and Costa today as well, and said, direct quote, "I will never abandon a player," he said. He said, if they're not in a good moment, we work with them, we work together, we know they've got the talent, they've all shown it before. He's referenced Traore specifically and Costa, but he's also talking about Vinagre, Sace, Cavallero, everyone who isn't playing, Gibbs White. We work with them to make them better. Yeah. He says, in their bad moments, and Traore's in one at the moment, we stand by them, we don't abandon them, we look to make them better.
I say he's in one, but he's made some decent impacts from the bench, I think.
Well, in terms of a situation, he's in a bad moment. I mean, he couldn't even get off the bench the other night when they needed to win. So I thought he spoke very well on that. He's fiercely protective of his players, and there's been a bit of criticism for his decision to leave Traore out the other night, but he says his chance will come.
So give me some team news then. What do you think? How's he going to line up? I tell you what, I reckon
that's Nuno for the team news.
I reckon John Ruddy's going to play. Is it going to be the same as, or do you think this change might be the first of a few? Difficult one, isn't it? It's very difficult.
It's tough. On the one hand, you say he'll stick with the same players, this tried and trusted 3-4-5-2 formation, which has gone very well. Or will he go 3-4-3? Could he perhaps drop Neves out of it, who's had a poor week? Matinho and Dendoncker in the middle, Sace maybe. Traore on the right in his favoured position, perhaps. However, the fact that the 2-1 defeat at Cardiff in November signalled the formation change that we've seen. If you remember, it was the game after they went 3-5-2 against Chelsea and won, and it completely got them back on track. And since then, it's mostly been 3-5-2. So would he go back to 3-4-3? against Cardiff, I'm not sure. I don't think so.
So one thing's for certain, if Wolves get to an FA Cup final, we know who's going to be in goal now at least.
Will Norris.
Prediction, please.
I think it'd be a tight game. I think Wolves can edge it 1-0.
3-0 Wolves, no problem. Myself, Tim and Joe Edwards will be at Molineux tomorrow for all the build-up on this one. Make sure you log on to expressandstar.com.